Hey there, it's Rob Hatch, and this is Simple Decisions. Stop chasing the next idea. I am all for spending time learning and chasing down answers to things and finding solutions. But what often happens, and this is an example of a productivity trap, is that we're constantly chasing a silver bullet or the next answer, the thing that's going to make it all work. And so we read and we consume books and we consume videos on the topic when in fact we probably know enough to be successful in that area, and then we can leverage that. But we have to kind of stop chasing the next idea, ground ourselves in an approach, and then build from there. Here's what I mean. I used to have a client, and he was in sales, and one of the things that he did was he was constantly consuming books on sales and reading blogs on sales and watching videos on sales, anything you could get his hands on. And his sales he were good, but he was inconsistent. He really could never nail anything down, and he kept chasing the sort of next new thing. What should he do? What should he try? And so his attempts were all over the map. So after a while of working with him, I finally basically said to him, you're not allowed to read anymore. No more blogs, no more books, nothing on the topic of sales. That's all, it's forbidden. And then I made him, or asked him, and I can't make anyone do anything, but I asked him to write down in order what was his approach to selling when it went well, when everything went well, when he got his most ideal customer. What were the steps that he put in place, or the actions he took, the preparation that he took, all of those steps. How did he find and even identify this? Everything from identifying this potential client and prospect all the way through the sales experience. When it went well, what did that look like? He spent a couple of weeks away from in between calls, and then came back to me, and I asked him to walk me through every step, and I wrote down every single step. And it was perfect. It was beautiful. It was really something to behold. And I asked questions at different points in his process. So what do you have with you when you go into that meeting? Did you do any preparation? Were there documents that you had prepared? What, just kind of poking and prodding just to make sure that I really understood what he was bringing in to every single step along the way. And like I said, what resulted was this really wonderful process. And from that point on, I said, okay, this is your process from now on. This is what I want you to follow. This is your system. You've developed the system. You've used it. You know that this works for your best clients, the clients that you ultimately want to land. So let's make this your methodology. I said in a prior video, you are the architect of your system. He just needed me to help him to extract his best practices in order. And from that point on, he doesn't have to seek out what the next best sales idea is, because he already knew it. He just had to follow that methodology consistently. He had to speak to his assistant to make sure that they had everything prepared for each stage and gathered the information so that he was ready and able to walk into that situation and anticipate basically a successful outcome more often than not. What followed, what transpired, is he ended up winning international sales awards within his company. And he's gone on to actually coach in sales and has developed this methodology for selling. It's really amazing what we already know if we just take the time to think through what our best practices are, what works well for us when things go well, what are the conditions, what work do we have to put in to prepare, what steps do we need to follow. We're so averse to following step-by-step instructions, I think sometimes because it feels like there's a lack of creativity. But if they're our steps, if we're the ones who've developed them through all sorts of different trainings or whatever we've read or whatever not. But when we've tested something that has worked successfully time and time again, why wouldn't we use that? So this is one of the best methods for uncovering your own successful system, is to stop chasing every other idea, every new idea that you think is going to fix your system, and really examine what are the steps that you need to take to be successful, and how can you set yourself up so that you can take them consistently. I'm Rob Hatch, and this is Simple Decisions.